Hard to say if November will be packed with blockbusters, but trust me, there's plenty worth playing. This month's a multi-platform feast, full of genre benders and unexpected surprises. And yes, the Terminator is coming too. What's up guys, it's Broz, and we're here to judge the best new games of November 2025. I think many would agree Call of Duty Black Ops 7 feels exactly like the new annual FIFA or Madden, but in the shooter world, it's the same core experience we know, dressed up with a few mechanical adjustments. The main technical update is the new Omni movement system, which allows you to sprint, slide, and dive in any direction, making movement feel extremely fluid, which veterans will appreciate. They've seriously restricted the beloved wall jump feature. The customization and progression system was also upgraded, and persistent open lobbies returned, allowing you to move faster from match to match and play against the same group of opponents until the teams are shuffled. But the most ridiculous news surrounding this release is the attempt by Activision to crush the competition. They launched a fully free trial period for the new Call of Duty running from October 9th to the 16th, which was perfectly timed with the release of Battlefield 6 on the 10th. It backfired spectacularly. Battlefield 6 has been dominating the Steam charts, hitting an all-time peak of 750K players and maintaining a massive daily average well above 400K. Meanwhile, the pricing policy for Black Ops 7 is causing its own chaos. While the US Standard Edition is the expected $70, European gamers are paying a baseline of $80, which translates to roughly $85 to $95 after accounting for VAT. But the worst part is, this aggressive regional pricing is also being applied in countries with weaker economies, where the game costs noticeably more than the base US price, forcing players who can least afford it to pay the most. Where Winds Meet is easily one of the most anticipated free-to-play titles, landing on PS5 and PC this November, largely due to its proven, staggering success. This wuxia-inspired action RPG from NetEase is already a massive hit in the Chinese market, having racked up over 30 million players since its launch there back in December 2024. The game promises a legitimately deep RPG and life system, with a huge focus on player freedom through various professions or jobs. You can completely ignore the main quest and focus on life skills, earning a living as an employed healer, a master architect who builds guild structures, a traveling merchant, or even a professional bodyguard, crafting your own destiny in the 10th century open world. Combat is fast, fluid, and customizable, utilizing classic wuxia weaponry like the sword, spear, dual blades, and the unique tactical combat umbrella. While the scope is huge, some players point to clunky combat animations and certain cutscenes whose graphics are openly criticized for looking closer to a PS3-era title than a current-gen AAA production. PlayStation players, the wait is almost over. The Chornobyl exclusion zone is finally opening its doors to PS5 owners this November. Exactly 1 year after watching from the sidelines, PS5 fans get to experience S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chernobyl, and it's launching with platform-specific features that look serious. Beyond the expected haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, the developers have integrated full gyro aiming through the DualSense motion sensor, which is a massive feature for competitive console shooters, providing mouse-like precision that dramatically closes the accuracy gap. The DualSense also utilizes its built-in speaker, light bar, and touchpad gestures for various in-game effects, maximizing immersion in the terrifying, unpredictable environment. The PS5 also gets the full benefit of the console's advanced audio processing with Tempest 3D audio, which should maximize dread and directional awareness of anomalies and mutants. The Pro version includes dramatically improved volumetric fog and cloud rendering, higher quality reflections, enhanced global illumination, and improved shadow quality and resolution. Overall, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 had quite a rough launch, and it's probably for the best that the game is only releasing on PS5 now, as it's already a largely polished and stable release that has been through numerous patches and improvements. The veteran Anno strategy franchise is diving back into the deep end of history, setting its newest installment, Pax Romana, in the year 117 AD. This specific date is crucial. 117 AD represents the absolute peak of the Roman Empire, meaning the game is not about easy expansion, but about the strategic difficulty of managing a colossal, overextended state. As the newly appointed governor, you are tasked with governing vast and diverse provinces, specifically the Celtic swamps of Albion and the sun-drenched coasts of Latium. Your central conflict is framed as the cost of maintaining peace. You constantly have to decide whether to push for pure economic prosperity, relying on trade and infrastructure, or use military dominance to suppress dissent and maintain order across wildly disparate cultures. The developers have emphasized that the ultimate strategic success lies in making tough choices between your desire for economic expansion and the practical difficulties of holding an already overstretched empire together. The game will release on November 13th for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC with cross-platform play support. Next up is the Legend of Khiimori, which is dropping into early access this November, and you need to pay attention to its premise. This is an open-world action RPG set in 13th century Mongolia, where you take on the role of an ancient courier rider. Forget typical fantasy settings. This is about cultivating your Mongolian nomad camp and completing missions across a diverse and massive landscape. One of the biggest talking points is the developer's promise of unparalleled equine realism. It sounds wild, but this commitment to horse management and environmental traversal has already led some in the community to describe the game as Death Stranding on a horse. Visually, the team is building this world using Unreal Engine 5, aiming for stunning realism in both the landscape and the animals themselves. While this is an early access release, the developer Acer Interactive boasts a corporate headcount of over 110 professionals, but the core development team for The Legend of Khiimori consists of approximately 25 people. This dedicated team size is significantly larger than that of a typical small, passionate project hitting early access. The full release of Project Motor Racing is set for November 25th, and after a serious lack of footage, the developers finally dropped a substantial gameplay video. This new footage confirms that the sim is using the proprietary Hadron 720 Hz first principle physics engine. It means the game calculates physics and road surface forces every 6 centimeters at high speed. A massive jump in detail compared to standard simulators, which should result in phenomenal fidelity for force feedback and handling. The game is developed by Straight 4 Studios, a team made up of veterans who previously shaped the Project Cars series. The content looks extensive, launching with over 70 licensed cars from 10 racing classes and 17 real-world tracks with 27 total layouts. The game dropped its initial free-to-play promise for a traditional premium model. Console players can expect to pay around $70 for the standard game, while the PC version is set at approximately $60. The Year 1 bundle, which includes key content like the legendary Nürburgring circuit and exclusive cars, is priced around $90 for PC and up to $100 for the PS5 version. They also promise VR support for PC and PSVR 2 for PlayStation 5. The Midnight Walkers, a hardcore title from One Way Ticket Studio that is dropping into early access on November 20th. It's a zombie extraction game set in the vertical nightmare of the Liberty Grand Center mega complex. This is a multi-layered world. The combat is all about verticality. The developers confirmed that elevators are critical for exploration, and this verticality turns stairwells and elevator shafts into high-stakes choke points where you don't know who or what is waiting for you on the next floor. The core loop is simple: fight, scavenge and extract, or die and lose everything. If you survive, you take your hard-earned loot back to your hideout to craft new weapons and gear. The RPG system here is deep, focusing on class-based progression and long-term crafting, which makes the constant risk of losing everything even more brutal. They're building the game on Unreal Engine 5 and are already promising some unique features, including a dark web-based marketplace for trading loot, which adds a layer of required anonymity and risk to the economy. It's finally happening. Satisfactory is making the huge jump from PC to console, hitting the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. If you are holding out, let the facts convince you. This factory builder is legitimate. The game enjoys universal acclaim from critics. Community reception is just as strong, with over 207,000 user reviews on Steam, resulting in an overwhelmingly positive 97% rating. Quality is undeniable. The core issue for console players lies in adaptation. This is a complex three-dimensional construction and management game, requiring precise placement of belts, factories, and resource miners. Developers at Coffee Stain Studios have stated that the controller will be the primary input method on consoles, meaning the entire UI has been re-engineered to work functionally with a gamepad. It's a challenge that has broken many PC strategy and management ports in the past, but the developers are confident in their new UI solution. If the control scheme holds up and they nail the gamepad interface, this release could easily bring a whole new wave of players to the addictive automation loop. The announcement of S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Remaster is a tremendous hit of nostalgia for veterans of the isometric RPG genre. I remember pouring countless hours into S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Fallen Angel back in 2009. That massive, endless world of Ancaria was legendary, even if it was buggy. This remaster is designed not just to update the graphics, but more importantly, to create the definitive, stable version that the original always deserved. The most crucial feature here is the integration of community-driven fixes and stability improvements. This is a huge nod to the loyal fanbase, essentially adopting years of dedicated player work to finally erase the long-standing critical bugs and performance issues that plagued the PC version. Beyond stability, the remaster brings a modernized user interface, enhanced textures, improved lighting, and a massive increase in view distance. For console players, this means the seamless transition to modern hardware is complete, especially with the addition of full native controller support. This definitive edition includes all expansions and updates in one package, making it the perfect chance for veterans to return to S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Europa Universalis V is fundamentally shaking up the grand strategy genre, abandoning many of the systems that defined its predecessors. One of the biggest changes is the complete removal of the static three-tiered technology groups. Instead, technology is now a massive, intricate tree of individual advancements, giving players far more precise control over their nation's development and specialization. Political management is also drastically deeper with the introduction of the new Union Parliament mechanic. If you, the senior partner, want to pass critical legislation, like centralizing power or changing defensive pacts, you must secure over 50% support by actively bribing and cajoling the other members of your union. Basically, there are tons of changes and features, and Europa Universalis V is set to become the most ambitious and complex project from Paradox Interactive, unifying mechanics from their other grand strategies. For instance, population and economy mechanics like those in Victoria 3, or the improved logistics and combat system taken from Imperato Rome. And this will be the largest and most detailed map of any Paradox game. This release is a unique mashup that has the potential to redefine digital tabletop gaming. Demeo Dungeons & Dragons Battlemarked combines the tactical, turn-based virtual tabletop mechanics of the critically acclaimed Demeo series with the universally beloved Forgotten Realms setting of Dungeons & Dragons. The action is set around the iconic city of Neverwinter, giving D&D fans a chance to explore a legendary location in a digital board game format. The foundation is incredibly solid. The base Demeo system is critically well received, sporting an 88% positive rating on Steam and an 80 on Metacritic. The biggest excitement comes from the fact that fans are already calling this release the true successor to what previous digital D&D efforts failed to accomplish. Many in the community are openly hoping that Resolution Games is laying the necessary groundwork for a future, full-blown 5th edition digital implementation of Dungeons & Dragons core rules. It's also launching across PS5, PC, and all major VR platforms, making it highly accessible, regardless of whether you prefer flat-screen tactical play or full VR immersion, where you can literally stand over the game board like a dungeon master. Okay, many of us usually skip the reviews for annual sports games because it's often the same thing with updated names. But Football Manager 26 is different this year. You need to remember that Sports Interactive made the radical, highly controversial decision to cancel FM25 entirely last year, choosing to sacrifice a year of revenue. The studio openly stated they needed that time to fundamentally overhaul the game's core infrastructure, which they felt was dangerously outdated. So what did that year-long sacrifice deliver? The biggest immediate change is the completely reimagined user interface, which promises true clarity and fluidity to every interaction, addressing years of complexity complaints. The game has fully transitioned to the Unity engine, which brings smoother player animations, realistic ball physics, and more detailed player models and stadiums. They added women's football, waiting for the woke agenda comments on that one. And apparently you'll be able to transfer your saves from FM23 and FM24. More importantly, the devs have added 2 new squad building and transfer tools that are powered by Transfer Room, which is a B2B platform utilized by real-world football clubs for transfers. Let's cut through the marketing for Rennsport and look at the reality of its early access run. The positives are simple. The graphics are pleasant thanks to Unreal Engine 5, and the base steering physics feel decent. However, everything else has been a mess. The game is aggressively monetized, positioning itself as free-to-play while demanding you buy individual cars, which is a huge turnoff, and this point has led to significant player friction. Critically, the optimization has been poor, a common struggle with complex UE5 titles, leading to serious performance problems. This player frustration is clearly reflected in the Steam reviews, which are sitting right at a precarious 50% positive. Adding to the drama, the developers reversed their initial F2P promise, shifting to a traditional paid model. The standard edition is $60 on PC and $70 on console, with higher deluxe pricing. So what's new on full release? The developers are launching with the infamous Nürburgring circuit and an exclusive Porsche 911 GT3R Rennsport variant. They are also adding the Endurance Classics pack, which brings iconic endurance cars and categories for longer, more strategic races. The classic point-and-click adventure Syberia is getting a full remaster this November, bringing Kate Walker's mysterious journey to modern consoles and PC. This isn't just an upscale. The developers Microid Studio Paris and Virtualiz Gaming have committed to a complete graphical overhaul, enhancing environments, characters, and animations to meet current technical standards. The core story remains untouched. You're still playing as New York lawyer Kate Walker, who gets sent to a remote village in the French Alps to finalize the sale of an old automaton factory. A routine task that quickly spirals into an extraordinary journey across Europe in pursuit of the elusive inventor Hans Vorarlberg. What's new beyond the visuals is the crucial modernized user interface and significantly smoother, more intuitive controls. They've preserved the game's contemplative and narrative essence, while making the overall experience feel much more fluid for contemporary players. Oh, and if you have a MetaQuest 3, the developers also have a dedicated Syberia VR experience launching a week later, where those iconic mechanical puzzles are completely rebuilt for tactile, physical interaction. Possessors is a Heart Machine and Devolver Digital title, so you already know it's going to be packed with high style and brutal, chaotic action. This game is a high-speed action side-scroller that blends Metroidvania exploration with intense combat inspired by platform fighters. You play as Luca, a woman possessed by the powerful demon Rem, and they have an uneasy alliance to survive. Their pact is simple. Rem helps Luca fight, and she helps him find a way home. All while they unravel the sinister truth beneath the polished corporate veneer of Sanzu City. The most incredible part of the combat is the sheer absurdity and variety of the arsenal. Luca fights using whatever she can find, including kitchen knives, hockey sticks, and hilariously, a computer mouse. Even better, you can smash enemies with a guitar and obliterate demons using a multi-function printer scanner. Beyond visual comedy, the game emphasizes deep combo potential. You can extensively customize your combat loadout, assigning specific attacks to different weapons to enable near-limitless combo creation and enemy staggering, focusing purely on speed and aggressive creative fighting. The sequel to Moonlighter is hitting early access, and it continues the core dual life established in the original. You are a merchant who funds their risky career as an adventurer. You spend your nights fighting monsters in the procedural Endless Vault, risking everything to bring back valuable loot, and your days selling that haul to other adventurers in your meticulously managed shop. The publisher of this game is 11-Bit Studios, known for Frostpunk and The Altars. They consistently select only exceptional projects, and their involvement alone confirms that the developer Digital Sun is preparing something original and high quality. Digital Sun is making some smart foundational changes to the shopkeeping loop. The team completely removed the tedious manual price setting, replacing it with item valuations based on a dynamic quality score. They also introduced a calendar system, making certain loot much more valuable on specific days, adding a layer of risk and reward to your dungeon runs. Shop decorations now offer unique strategic effects, effectively turning your storefront into its own form of resource optimization, which directly feeds back into your success in the dungeons. Neon Inferno is a new IP hitting all current and previous-gen consoles, as well as PC this November. Developed by Zenovia Interactive, this is a fast-paced twin-stick shooter set in a dystopian New York City. The city is at war, with criminal syndicates battling each other and the corrupt NYPD in 4 of the 5 boroughs. You play as the deadliest weapon of a fledgling crime family trying to carve out its own territory. What's unique about the combat system is its focus on a dynamic blend of side-scroller movement and twin-stick shooting, forcing you to constantly manage your position relative to the wave-based enemies. The developers describe the combat as shoot close, aim far, suggesting a complex system where both rapid close-quarters melee and precise long-range attacks are necessary. For fans of high-octane action, this blend of stylized violence and movement-based shooting makes Neon Inferno an intriguing option. INAZUMA 11 Victory Road finally hits the field this November 13th. But if you haven't played the series before, you need to understand this isn't just a soccer game. It's a full-blown sports role-playing game that perfectly fuses deep football simulation with aggressive RPG mechanics. The goal is simple: fight matches across the globe to build the ultimate team of young players, mixing mechanical skill with character stats. Success on the pitch requires leveling up your players, improving their offensive and defensive stats. The match engine offers a crucial split between control styles. You can choose manual mode to directly control one player, turning it into a fast-paced action soccer game. Or switch to commander mode, letting the AI handle movement while you focus entirely on strategic formations and timing special abilities. The developers Level 5 confirmed the massive scale of the narrative required substantial extra time for voice recording and localization across 9 separate languages, leading to the delayed November launch. This confidence in scale is reflected in the price. The game is strictly digital only and priced at the full AAA rate of $70. The biggest surprise for PC sim racers this November is the launch of Assetto Corsa Rally into early access. This is a massive expansion of the revered Assetto Corsa franchise into the world of rally, aiming for nothing less than the most authentic simulation ever released. The goal of Kuno Simulazioni, who are working as technical partners, was to use the fact that you race against the clock, not against 20 other cars, to free up massive CPU resources. These resources are now entirely dedicated to modeling the physics, specifically the tire models on dynamic, loose surfaces like gravel, mud, and asphalt, which is the single hardest thing to simulate in rally racing. The visual side is handled by a customized and optimized Unreal Engine 5, which is used to render 3D laser-scanned stages that capture every moment detail of the topography. On launch day, you get 33 kilometers of these high-fidelity stages across 4 rally locations in Wales and Alsace, and 10 licensed cars spanning iconic classes like Group B, WRC, and Rally 2. We finally hit Terminator 2D No Fate, a game that's had a surprisingly complex journey to its final November release date. The game was first delayed from September to October due to physical production issues, and then faced another month-long delay. The developers confirmed the final push to November 26th was caused by ongoing global trade and tariff changes that delayed shipment of the components for our Day 1 and Collector's Editions. The core experience is a genuine love letter to the 16-bit shooter era, aiming to capture the chaotic spirit of Contra and Metal Slug. The developers at Bitmap Bureau are self-proclaimed 80 seconds kids who prioritized raw, unfiltered gameplay over modern graphics. One of the studio's artists even intentionally worked within the strict graphical limitations of the 90s, including the color palette and D-pad controls, to preserve that authentic, nostalgic atmosphere. You play directly through the Terminator 2 Judgment Day plot, taking on the roles of Sarah Connor, John Connor, and the T-800 itself. If you want to stay up to date with all the upcoming games, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Let me know in the comments which of these games you judge worthy and which one you'll be playing.
Hasta la vista, baby.